We'll do it live. Keep doing what you're doing, man. It's awesome.
Hey guys, it's Alex. Today I'm going to make a quick and dirty video telling you about a cautionary tale about overbuilding your car. A lot of us make it to a certain point in life where we can afford to build something that we think we want. But the problem is, I think what you wanted when you were lusting after a certain vehicle versus when you can afford that vehicle or to build it, what you actually want, it does change. Like, you need to be open to evolving as to what your toy is going to be like. Now, this is a cautionary tale because I made the classic mistake of making a car that I mostly use on the street have a specific race car part in it. And as you can see, I am in section Hey. I am in my 2014 GT500, and there has been a bunch of stuff that has gone on with this car that has kind of molded my opinion as to what kind of car I want in the future, what the main use for this vehicle is going to be. And I chose a part that I thought I wanted, but then when you actually get it, it's not something I want at all. So basically, you have to, in my opinion, pick out what you want to do before anything and stick to that, because if you are then peer pressured into buying a part that you were told is better 100%, and then when you get that part, you will convince yourself that, yeah, that's what I wanted. And then after driving the car around a little bit, you're like, this sucks. Like, and then you start blaming everybody else, but at the end of the day, you're the person that makes the call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you guys about the transmission on this car. This car has a faceplated T56. If you don't know what faceplated is, Google it. I'm not going to give you the whole nuts and bolts about how it works. But basically, it does not have synchronizers 1, 2, 3, and 4 gears. 5th and 6th are synchronized. So what does that mean in terms of real world application? It means that when you take off from a light and you go to second, you can't just go in a second. You have to clutch to go into neutral and then clutch again to go into second. So you're basically driving a big rig from the 70s, like a cab over big rig with a big shifter up top here, and you're shifting basically twice to make one complete shift. That's not that difficult. The problem is it totally takes away from the driving experience. It actually sucks. It sucks to drive a face-plated transmission on the street. If you just want to go cruising, it sucks. If you're racing, that is awesome. Now you got to understand, this transmission, in my opinion, belongs in a 2,500 pound car with a Black Magic or a slipper style clutch racing down a quarter mile. That's the only place it does pretty well. Every other application, it does it terribly. In hindsight being 2020, I should have gotten a regular synchronized built T56, meaning good gears, good synchros, race oriented, but as street friendly as possible, because 85 to 90% of the use is on the street, whereas the other is on the drag strip. This transmission is only good on the drag strip. This transmission is awesome when you are shifting hard, but it is quite awful when you're just driving around. So let's take it for a drive and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's just start right off the rip, putting it in first gear. You can't just put it in first gear, right? The transmission is spinning. Right now it's in neutral, clutch is disengaged, all the internals are spinning. So if you were to put this in first right now, it would make a clunking noise. And I'm gonna show you that right now. All right, so if I let go of the clutch, everything inside of the transmission is spinning. So when you clutch in, that's what you hear. So what you have to do to put it in first gear without making that noise is this. Put clutch in and you wait. Now the clutch is disengaged from the engine and flywheel and the transmission is not spinning anymore. Then you can put it in first gear. You can physically feel the teeth slowing down, and then you're able to put it in gear when you just barely are putting it in, first after letting go of the clutch. Again, Transmission is spinning. Transmission is spinning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and then, right, you get stuck, so you let off the clutch a little bit, and then it goes into gear. Imagine you're at a light and you forget to clutch in early and you have to wait 5 seconds to take off. All right, so I'm at a light, it's in first gear, so I'm gonna take off, and you'll look at this leg. You see how many times the leg goes up and down in order to make shifts. Now, fifth gear is synchronized, so I can just put it in without having to clutch twice. So is sixth gear. Now, what about downshifting? If I want to go into fourth gear, from here, it'll make a hell of a clump. So I gotta rev it, and then it'll fall into gear. Rev it, it'll fall into gear. Now, that's not that big of a deal, but it takes away from the driving experience. Again, upshifting, clutch twice so it doesn't make the clucking noise. You don't believe me? There it is. Now let's go in without clutching twice. You understand? You have to drive this thing a certain way that makes it undesirable to drive. Now, can I drive it? Of course I can drive it. I can drive it anywhere. I can drive it to California and back. The problem is the experience of driving a manual, like the magic of driving a manual, is the ability to match everything, meaning it's a dance. You rev up, and then you put it in gear, and then when you put it in the next gear, it glides forward. If you've ever driven a manual and you're very good and you're used to your car, you're gonna notice that some of the cooler things that you do is just make the car drive smooth based on your driving technique. Like, oh, I can actually drive, rev up, put it in gear, and the car just really glides along the road nicely. If you need to downshift, wada, boom, downshift, gliding. This one, you can't do that. Now, that's not to say that this transmission is something you can drive and get used to, but when you drive a car that doesn't have a faceplated transmission, it reminds you how awesome synchronizers are. Like, there's a reason. Yeah, I missed it. There's a reason synchronizers were invented. And who knows what kind of wear and tear you're doing to the car when you do miss the rev match, when you do miss the upshift, when you put it in first gear a little too quickly, and you're like, man, I probably am doing something that the transmission doesn't like. So I probably shouldn't drive it that much, right? Like, transmission experts are gonna tell you, that's the other thing, the noise it makes. A transmission builder, let's say you talk to TIG or some of the better handling or whatever, you talk to those transmission builders and you ask them, hey, would you recommend a face-plated transmission to be daily driven on? They're like, no, actually, if you drive on that too much, you might hurt the part that makes the magic happen. Now, removing the synchronizers or face-plating the transmission, again, I'm no transmission expert, but I'm trying to explain it the simplest way possible. Removing the synchronizers allows you to put it in gear faster at wide open throttle than if you had synchronizers. The synchronizers kind of have to like align everything for you to make the next shift. So manhandling the shifter into gear actually hurts synchronized transmissions, and then you have to replace synchronizers, gears, all that stuff. Face plating, to me, it's a race application only. You just whop, bop, and whatever happens, happens. And then because it's a race part, you are expected to take it out often, have it checked, and it's race car shit, right? Like race car. So you know the thought process of 3,000 mile oil changes, 50,000 mile clutches lasting that long are gone, because you're under the thought process of, well, yeah, it's a race car part, what did you expect? And that's what a lot of these builders get away with when they sell you something because it's better, and you believe them, but the main use is street stuff. And they're like, why'd you buy a faceplated transmission to drive on the street? And I'm like, motherfucker, you told me it would be better. And he's like, well, yeah, it's better for racing. And I'm like, so it's my fault that I believe them. But that's why I'm kind of like reorganizing my thought process as to what kind of vehicle I want in the future to have a toy. Again, I've made it in life. I'm successful. And I don't want to have to like deal with anything. You know, I didn't bust my ass working as hard as I work to deal with a faceplated transmission, deal with a spool, you know. You have to, in my opinion, build it for the main use. And the main use of this particular vehicle initially was drag racing. Look at all the cage bullshit. It's got cage, monkey bar stuff everywhere. But once you get fucked over a couple of times by motor builders, transmission builders, shops in general, your opinion tends to evolve a little bit. All that to say is, I think, can I live with this? Yeah. Do I want to live with it? No. I don't want to live with this. I don't want to have to deal with this. At the end of the day, I just want to enjoy my vehicle. But I'm thinking that if I'm going to try to go out there and run an 8-second quarter mile, that I'll try it with this, and depending on what it runs, I might just sell the transmission and go back to something that I think is more suitable for the car, which it's not a 6060, it's not a T56, it's probably something that would allow the car to perform better, and you'll have a decent time cruising it, and we all know where I'm going with that, but we'll see. I just want to kind of make a quick dirty video, old school, where I'm driving around talking, showing you that not everything race is better. As a matter of fact, arguably, everything race is worse. See, I missed it. Missed it again. You know? But when you're in gear, it's a badass. Now, this thing is supremely badass. And if you do a 2-3 shift, it's dumb. Like, it feels wonderful. I'm trying to see if there's any cops back there. I'll try to find a spot to do a 2-3 so you can see what I'm talking about. As I was driving, I heard a little bit of a noise, and I was like, well, this is suboptimal. So now looks like the drag radio decided to not hold air anymore. So I'm gonna Uber back home, get the set of slicks, because this car has a spool, so it absolutely has to have 2 matching tires. So I'll get these Bellacs off and get the other Bellacs on, because they're matching, they're slicks, and then I'll drive the Cadillac back home, Uber back here, then drive this back home. All right, Lee, shortly after I made that wide open throttle hit 2-3 shift, I got a flat tire. But believe it or not, there was no puncture. It was a very interesting flat tire. Luckily, Jake has always had my back. I literally Ubered home. Jake happened to hit me up, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, actually, I got a flat tire. I got to go home, get the caddy, get these slicks. And he's like, I'll help you. So he came over, helped me out. But what I'm trying to illustrate in this video is showing you that race car parts, I think, belong at a racetrack. A lot of people think that a race car part is built to a higher standard than an OEM part, and I'm here to tell you different. Just look at control arms, just look at suspension components that are made to last years as opposed to lightweight, and they prioritize, let's say, adjustability and weight as opposed to longevity. And I think a faceplated transmission in this particular sense is great for racing applications, but I don't know of many faceplated. We're not talking trucks here, okay? We're not talking diesel trucks here. I'm talking about a high revving 8,500 RPM supercharged 1,000+ horsepower application. I just don't think this is going to be the future for this car, but if I end up running an 8-second quarter mile with it, we will put something in here that belongs, in my opinion. And I've always talked about a specific part that should go on GT500s that should have come from the factory, that I think would have made them a lot more enticing to more people. But there you go, a little old school video of me driving in the car and showing you how it is to live with a faceplated T56. Hopefully, guys, you enjoyed a little bit of a walking down back memory lane. I'll hopefully get you more videos like this in the future. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll talk to you later.